SHOT Show 2015 with Armor Express. Matt of Armor Express, I imagine you are the, well, probably not the owner, but the CEO, or what's your title?
I'm the CEO, chairman of the board, and owner, yes.
Chairman of the board, okay. You should be wearing a fedora then.
I know, I
like,
should be wearing a suit and get all stuffy and,
Well, I meant the chairman, the old, the singer, Frank.
Sinatra?
Yeah,
Is his nickname?
I think chairman of the board or something like that. I don't know. But, hey, and since we're in Vegas, it just kind of comes to me naturally, I guess. Listen, I talked to some of your people yesterday. Just happened to be walking around the booth. There's a lot of body armor companies at SHOT Show, of course. There's a lot of body armor companies in existence now, especially post September 2001. Real burgeoning type of an industry and business. Now, a little bit of your DNA, let's say, and one of the things I found out yesterday is your dad.
Yep. I consider him kind of the godfather of the industry, and most people do. I mean, from 1960 to 1972, the rate of officer fatalities was just on a really, really steep climb. Then my dad comes out and invents soft body armor. Whole story to that, but he comes out and invents soft body armor, and then from that point forward, you see this gradual decline. And since then, we've been. I can attest to
some of that. I've got probably 2 sets of stuff from when he owned it. And frankly, I don't follow the trends of the industry. Who owns what and what's happening in the industry. I don't follow that because, frankly, it doesn't really matter that much.
It doesn't really matter to anybody. What
it doesn't matter though is what. It doesn't matter to the end user. What it matters to is obviously the industry of the guys involved. But your family, I would imagine, it probably wasn't just your dad. You guys owned the business until 2002 or so, I think is what he said.
Second Chance Body Armor?
Yeah.
Yeah, my father owned that until about 2005.
Oh, okay. I thought I may have the dates off, but when I was talking to him, he had mentioned, I thought he said 2002. So the company moves to another organization of some kind. Did you folks step away from the industry, or did you think about going right back into it?
Yeah, so essentially what happened was Armor Holdings bought my father's company, Second Chance Body Armor, under Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Unfortunately, it's kind of a sad event. But in the wake of that, I started Armor Express at my father's urging. And this year we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary. And in that 10 years, we've captured, we've now got 20% of the market as far as law enforcement goes. We've got 4 active military contracts. Our business is all about providing the best service to the customer, providing the most value while consuming the fewest resources. And we just have a really, really, really core group of great people that help make that happen. And we couldn't be happier. We're just having a great growth spurt.
Outstanding. And like you said, the your industry, or the
body armor industry.
Yeah, well, the body armor industry, but I was going to use a different word than industry. The technical aspect of it, like you said, there was a kind of a degeneration, not really degeneration, but a decline prior to 2001, where there were companies coming out. I remember that there were a lot of different companies coming out. You folks were still really strong, and you were really, quite frankly, one of the main go-to companies for most of the end users. That was the preferred device. And again, what I'm talking about, I know that there's different companies, but Second Chance was the go-to company.
For sure, there's no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, there was an article, a survey done by Law & Order magazine, and they asked in the entire law enforcement space, not just related to body armor, they asked questions like, what was the most, what brand were you most loyal to in all of the brands out there, from duty gear to less lethal equipment to whatever, uniforms, and Second Chance was by far the #1 company in that. And which company do you trust the most? Second Chance, blah, 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 blah. It's just over and over and over again. So the strength of the brand was just phenomenal. And that's kind of the culture that my father built at that company. And it was really just about really caring about what happens. We've rolled out some new videos. We've got a new video, a Saves reenactment that we just rolled out. You can find it on all of our social media outlets, from Facebook to LinkedIn to YouTube to our website. And it really shows you, kind of our take on how important what we do is.
Your branding is, and what that's all about.
Our brand. It's not about sales. It's about saving people's lives, man. It's about that. We care about that so much. And I encourage you to go to one of those outlets and find that video, because it is just phenomenal.
Now, you mentioned culture. The culture and the culture of the profession, whether it be military, law enforcement, private sector. instructor, etc. You know, there's a certain warrior culture involved that you obviously are assisting with. Now, but you mentioned culture, and I noticed one of the things that actually made me kind of double take at your booth yesterday was a video was running, and of course, you know, most of us have seen the video of, you know, when your father did his original tests on himself, where he'd take the revolver, turn it on himself, and crank a round off. There was a video, and I was talking to some other individual, some guy, I don't even know who he was, but apparently he had stopped to look at it too, and it apparently was you getting ready to self-test on yourself, and your father, you could recognize him from, you know, the older, well, not older years, but from prior years, you could recognize him in the video. Well, frankly, I didn't really recognize him. I kind of just recognized the scenario, that the reversed revolver. Now, when was that video taken?
So my dad first shot himself in 1971.
No, I'm talking about the video where you're getting ready to shoot yourself.
Lake, Michigan. You know, I've been shot a number of times. The last time I did it was this past May. Was
that the video?
Don't know which video you saw. There's a few of them out there.
You looked a little different than you look now, so that's, yeah.
The first time I did it was in 2005, I guess.
Okay.
And the last time I did it was this past May. So.
Okay, so you've done it a couple of times as well.
Yeah, I told my dad, you know, he's been shot over 200 times. I made it very clear to him that I was not going after his record.
Right.
You know, there's no.
Not something you really want to pursue necessarily. But getting back to the culture aspect of it, now this is the video where you're getting ready to shoot yourself, and then he steps in and says, no, and he takes the, no, strike that. He's getting ready to shoot you, and he says, no, he can't do it, and then you turn it on yourself. So the culture thing cracks me up, because it almost reminds me like a biblical thing where, you know, the sacrifice and the father just can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because that was me and him in his backyard, basically, at his range, in his backyard, with my personal video camera. And I told him that, you know, I'd grown up seeing him do this a number of times. I was starting to get more involved in the business at that point, and I just who grows up wanting to shoot themselves? It's totally unnatural, but for me it was just something I was really close to, and I really felt like, you know, I just decided I was going to do it. So
well, and it's kind of like a carpenter's son, never banging a hammer. You know, it'd be like that.
I unequivocally, you know, I was a grown man at that point, and I looked at him straight in the eye one night at dinner, and I said, Dad, I am shooting myself. And for years, I would tell him that, or say, I want to shoot myself.
So how old were you when that? How old were you when you said that at dinner?
I was probably, let's see, that would have been probably,
just roughly.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been probably 27 years old or something.
Okay. And, you know, not something the typical 27-year-old wants to go do.
Exactly. And so, and it was forever, he would just say, oh, no, you don't got to do that. And finally I just...
Well, of course, the father's going to be protective of the son. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be.
So I look him dead in the eye and I said, Dad, I'm shooting myself. I don't care. If you want to be there, you can be there, but you can't stop me. I'm doing it.
Well, now, in most households, that's a call for a 5150 call or you know, for psychological interference.
Intervention there. Yeah. Well, anyway, so I basically just flat out looked him dead in the eye, and I was going to do it. And then he realized that, you know, this was going to happen, and so he said, okay, I want to be there.
And he probably wanted to have control over it to make sure no mistakes are made. Yeah.
And so it was totally unrehearsed. It was just him and I at the range.
Yeah.
My personal video camera was.
Well, it seemed like you just maybe put it on a fence post or something.
Yeah. And it was just basically, you know, I'm like, all right, and I didn't know. It was just, I just said, okay, shoot me. And I'm like, okay, and you know, it's like especially the first time you do it, it's nerve-wracking as hell.
Of course, I can imagine.
It's so unnatural. And I'm just like, okay, do it. You know, I was ready. I was just like, okay. It's kind of like getting a shot, you know, a big needle stuck in you or something. You're just like,
well, I think that's a pretty close comparison.
Well,
but
yeah.
Maybe for the first time.
So I said, do it, and then he says, you know, he points the gun at me, then he puts it down and can't do it. And I'm just like, oh my God, would you just do it? You know?
Get it over with.
So finally, I just grabbed the gun and I turned it around
and crank. And luckily, you had a good placement. Yeah, but you did the upside down thing.
Yeah, it was a 44 Magnum with a level 2 vest. And you know, that vest isn't even ready to stop that round.
What kind of bullet was it? Was it lead?
It was a 44 Magnum, yeah.
Lead?
Yeah.
I would imagine you'd use a jacketed or
Well, no.
Oh, it'd probably contain it.
It was a jacketed hollow point.
Oh, it was a jacketed hollow point. Okay. Well, come to think of it, I guess that would actually be better than using solid. No, okay.
So anyway,
I don't want to take a lot more of your time, but is there anything new that obviously you've been in the business for, you know, since 2005, growing demand? Well, you know, a little bit of maybe a dip. I really don't track the
We've been growing
stuff.
we posted double-digit sales growth in each and every single year since our inception.
Okay.
This last year we were up 20% in law enforcement. More customers are coming to Armor Express day to day because we provide the best service, we have the best products, and frankly, we're just the easiest to deal with.
Is there anything new that you've come out with for 2015 that you're debuting at?
Oh God, we've got so much stuff.
Well, I noticed you've got hard plate.
This right here, this is a concealable carrier that we call our tactical upgrade.
Right.
So it's got you can put police on here,
right,
so you can be identified.
Or whatever unit you happen to be with.
This is a concealable vest, but it's got a knife pouch right there. You'll notice right here we got the Star of Life. This is going to be light blue, but you pull this out, it's got all your medical information. If the vest stays at the scene of the crime and the officer gets transported to a hospital, you can pull this off and transport it right with the hospital to the hospital. It's also got.
Is there a doubler on this where it would retain? Say if you had multiple officers, I mean, God forbid, but you have multiple guys. Is there perhaps a strip where you could pull this out, rip it off? That piece goes with the injured party, and then you have, for evidential purposes, then you have another strip retained with the body armor itself.
No,
might be something you might want to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, not trying to tell you how to run your business, but just something I'm thinking outside the box.
This right here is there's been a huge push in law enforcement training these days for tactical emergency medical support or TEMS.
Yeah.
And to do that, you need to have a first aid kit. So this is what we call an IFAC pouch. So it's on the side, and it's just a little pocket you can slide an IFAC right into here.
Right.
We can keep your compression, your compression gauze,
like a little blowout kit, like a mini blowout kit.
Yep. So this is the tactical upgrade. We're pretty excited about that.
And this is concealable.
It's a concealable vest, but it's kind of if it's for the guy that isn't a patrol, he works a desk job, keeps it in his car, he can throw that on. He's identified as a police officer, that kind of thing.
Can I turn this around real quick? And do you have panels on the back too?
You'll be able to, because this is a stationary.
Okay, it's mounted. But are there panels on the back as well?
No.
Hook and loop.
There's hook and loop on the back.
Only for the what is this called? Cummerbund?
Yeah. Version. It looks kind of
like
okay.
That. Very good. Yeah. Outstanding.
Over here. So this is our new carrier. This is an outer carrier called the Echo. Super high quality carrier. Lots of neat features. I won't get into all of them given their time constraint, but there's a lot of neat things with that going on. This is our Raven. Let me demonstrate this for you. You want me to size you right now?
I got it.
So this is our new Raven tactical vest, and we're debuting this here at SHOT Show. Lots of cool features, starting with, instead of the typical webbing style MOLLE attachment system, we use a low profile, we call this Trilo Grid. It's a low profile material that basically they take a layer of nylon, and then they put a layer of Dyneema on top of it, and then they put another layer of nylon, and then they laminate that all together. So this becomes extraordinarily strong. You cannot rip this at all.
Man.
It's got incredible tear strength. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is some very just by feel, feels very
cool.
durable.
Got a little dump pouch right here, but the coolest thing, I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see this. The coolest thing is the quick release system. So if you want to take it off really quick, you just do that. And then putting it back together is nothing more than simply snapping these buckles back together.
The buckles back in. I like the buckle system.
Yeah. It's incredibly quick release system, and it's the easiest one to operate in.
And it's quick to don as well, and especially with the quick release buckles. Or quick fastening buckles as well. Now you've got a cable underneath that. Is that I'm familiar with that. That is part of your quick release system.
Yeah, it's part of the quick release system. So
well, with the quick release thing, you got to be careful. You don't have a bunch of male strippers buying the thing.
It's so funny because we first rolled out quick release system with this, our Lighthawk XT over here, which is still today our most popular selling tactical vest. And the year that we debuted this at SHOT Show, Hugh Hefner's former girlfriend, Holly Madison, was debuting at a show here, and she had a bustier where she pulled a cord and it just popped off. I saw it was on the previews. I didn't actually go to the show, but I thought, wow, that's funny. One other thing that I'd like to show you real quick is some new soft armor that we've got that we're rolling out here. This is our new Vortex Level 2, and you can tell by the pliability of this, just an incredibly lightweight and soft body armor vest.
Oh, wow.
It's just incredible.
What is this rating on this panel?
That's a level 2. It'll stop 44 magnums.
This is a level 2.
That's a level 2, and it'll stop 44 magnums at contact.
Very nice.
Yep. And we've also got that in a 3A, which is.
That's what I was just going to ask you about.
Yep.
Do you have that for me to check?
This is the 3A, and again, it's just incredibly pliable and soft. And these are right out of the box. These are not like broken in like a lot of.
You haven't been taking these to 5 or 6 shows already, and a bunch
exactly. These are right out of the box.
Some moron like me has been squeezing them and kicking them around. Right. That's nice.
Super nice.
This is a 3A panel.
It is.
Wow, phenomenal.
Extremely
Okay,
thin.
very nice.
Yeah, people are really excited about this new Vortex
This is
line.
proprietary for you, correct?
Yeah, these are our Armor Express's designs here.
Okay.
We also are rolling out 2 new products in our Razor series. So I'll show you the first one. This is a very extremely lightweight level 3/8. It's less than 1 pound per square foot. Uses Dyneema's force multiplier technology.
Okay.
Very, very lightweight.
Now you're
level
talking
3/8.
Greek for me, but I'm sure a lot of people might understand.
Yeah.
This feels a little more rigid than your other, and I can't recall what you called it.
It is more
but-
rigid, but it's lighter, and that's always the
And rigid is
trade-off.
probably the wrong term. It feels a little
It's just a little
slightly stiffer.
Right,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. And that's always the trade-off. It's weight versus flexibility a lot of times.
Right, right.
This though is the level 2, and I can't wait for you to feel this because this is just ridiculous. This will also stop 44 magnums. At
Matt,
contact.
you're acting kind of like a lingerie salesman here. I can't wait for you to feel this.
Feel that.
Good God, this is 2?
Insane. Yeah,
This
that's
is
a
2.
level 2. That'll stop 44 magnums at contact. This thing is 0.66 pounds per square foot, and it is extraordinarily light and flexible.
Wow.
You can tell. I mean, you need.
I think I've got T-shirts that weigh
It's
more
going
than
to be
this.
impossible to
I am-
assess this from video.
I'm popping off. I am popping off a little bit, but I think I've got T-shirts that weigh more than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, phenomenal. Anything else you'd like to talk about? Because I know you know the last day and you're kind of jammed up.
Yeah, no problem. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Stuart.
Pleasure talking to you,
come
brother.
Come back and see us next year.
Definitely
man.
will.
And, whatever we can do to help you out, we're here for you.
And I want to see success with you guys.
All right.
Not that you really need my blessing.